the martyr, the one who sacrifices his life for God's sake. God's sake means for the Eucharist or for the family of God's sakes. There are people who give life like Graham Staines and all from Australia, and a pastor came to India. This pastor, he came here not to serve God or not to serve the church. He came here to preach against the church, against the family of God. Church means the family of God, according to CCC 1. And this fellow from Australia, he came here claiming himself to be a person who knows the Bible, or claiming himself to be a person who is very holy. He actually, what did he do? He preached against God's plan. He came here to preach that God will not adopt you. He came here to preach the doctrine or the theology of Martin Luther, that if sins are forgiven, you can go to heaven, is what he said. How is it against God's plan? See, God has a righteousness, I read to you. He, being ignorant of the righteousness that comes from God and seeking to establish his own, that pastor's own righteousness, he did not submit to God's righteousness. Which means he came here to preach people and to ask them to not submit themselves to God's righteousness. I hope you followed. He came here to make people to not submit themselves to God's righteousness. And this fellow, he sacrificed his life. Is he a martyr? Never. He preached against God's righteousness. He preached against submission to God's righteousness. And he sacrificed his life for this cause. The cause to establish his own righteousness against God. That fellow is not a martyr. Leave him alone. He is a person who is against God, and for him there are punishment waiting for him. Therefore, here, even if you are a person who actually sacrificed your own life for the church's sake, for the well-being of the God's family in this world, even if you have done that work, it is only the fulfillment of the command given to you by God. So therefore, even that person does not have the right to ask God to invite him to sit equally at his table. We don't have the right. But God chooses. See what we should say? We are worthless slaves. We have done only what we ought to have done. This is our only right given to us. See, this thing is different from what Martin Luther teaches. So here we must be very careful. And therefore, if you read Matthew 7:7 now, it says like this, that ask and it will be given you, and the 8th and all, for everyone who asks receives. Is there anyone among you who, if your child asks for bread, will give a stone? Or if the child asks for a fish, will give a snake? So what is asked will be given to him. Likewise, God is actually a person who gives what people ask for it. Now, I read another portion. If you go to Sirach, I hope you have Sirach in your Bible, 15th chapter, from 14 verse if you read,